I want when I get out of here to leave a country stronger than I came in. Donald Trump came in and basically has said, it's all about me.
I'm genuinely surprised how people close to Trump haven't talked about the odor. It's truly something to behold. Wear a mask if you can.
I want when I get out of here to leave a country stronger than I came in. Donald Trump came in and basically has said, it's all about me. Armpits, ketchup, makeup, and a little butt. It's probably like that, all mixed up.
Trump just got compared to a wrestling character by a former Republican congressman, and he's not taking it well. Adam Kinzinger called Trump softer than a microwaved marshmallow and said his tough guy act is faker than WWE. Remember when Trump used to brag about being the toughest guy in the room? Well, Kinzinger just exposed him as a whiny, weak, small, tiny man who hides in the White House while his supporters storm the Capitol. Trump's response proves Kinzinger might be onto something.
You were pardoned. You didn't ask for a pardon. It was preemptive just in case Trump's Justice Department goes after you and other members of the January 6th committee. What was your reaction when you saw Trump's post last night?
But look, Jake, it's like, bring it on. Like, honestly, so, you know, we had an election. I fought against Donald Trump. I wanted Kamala Harris to win. January 6th was a big thing, but America made a different choice. Fine, I'm ready to move on. You know what? Then bring it. Like, stop talking about it. Stop being all verbose. Stop pretending like you're tough. Bring the charges then if you really want to do it, because we will crush you in court.
Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great, thank you so much. Now, back to the video. You know what gets me every time? When tough guys aren't actually tough. Trump struts around like a WWE superstar, flexing those imaginary muscles and talking trash to anyone who dares question his greatness. But Adam Kinzinger just ripped off that fake championship belt and showed us all what's really underneath. Kinzinger, who actually knows what real toughness looks like because he fought in Iraq, went full-on wrestling announcer on Trump. He called Trump a whiny, weak, small, tiny man who was scared to death. Ouch, that's not just a verbal smackdown, that's a folding chair to the ego.
I'm genuinely surprised how people close to Trump haven't talked about the odor. It's truly something to behold. Wear a mask if you can.
You definitely wouldn't want to bottle it up and wear Trump cologne.
You spent time with him?
I did, yeah.
You got close to him?
Mm-hmm. Not too close. But he invite all of us into the Oval Office all the time, and it's hard to avoid that.
The funniest part, while Trump keeps telling everyone he's the strongest, toughest president in history, Kinzinger exposed exactly how that toughness disappears when it actually matters. During the January 6th insurrection, when a real leader would have stepped up, Trump was nowhere to be found. Instead of stopping his supporters from trashing the Capitol, Donnie was kicking back in the White House, watching the chaos unfold like it was the season finale of his favorite reality show. Strong leader, more like strong coward.
Americans that were concerned about January 6th that still voted for Donald Trump because other issues, economics, inflation, whatever. All we can do as leaders, as media, is just tell the American people the truth. And it's on the American people to seek out true information and not be manipulated, abused by a weak, small man.
Donald Trump has said he's going to go after all of those people. Kash Patel said he's going to go after those people. Do you have any advice? Would you say lawyer up?
Well, everybody's fine with moving on except Donald Trump. He keeps having to revisit it because we embarrassed him on the committee. We showed how inept he was.
Whenever anyone criticizes Trump, his reaction is about as mature as a kindergartner who didn't get the red crayon. He throws tantrums, calls names, and pouts until someone tells him he's special again. It's like watching a 6-year-old desperately trying to make daddy proud, but failing miserably and blaming everyone else. There's something extra satisfying about Kinzinger being the one to call Trump out. While Trump was getting those mysterious bone spurs checked out to avoid military service, Kinzinger was actually putting his life on the line in Iraq. That gives his takedown some serious weight. One man knows what real courage looks like, and the other one just plays pretend for the cameras.
So do you think Trump's move to say the pardon in his view is void is because he wants to investigate the January 6th committee members, or do you think this is more about trying to reopen a discussion about President Biden's...
My decision, that'll be up to a court. But I would say that they're null and void, because I'm sure Biden didn't have any idea that it was taking place.
It's probably probably a little of both. Look, I think he's obsessed with January 6th, and there's no doubt if he could break the law and come after us, he would. And, you know, again, we'd crush him in the court of law.
But the real bombshell dropped when Kinzinger compared Trump's marriage to his political career. According to Kinzinger, both are built on illusions and fake strength. Now that's what I call hitting below the belt. He basically suggested that Trump's relationship with Melania is just as phony as his tough guy act, all for show with nothing real underneath. No wonder Trump lost it after hearing that. And how did our former president respond to these brutal takedowns? Exactly how you'd expect, by playing the victim card faster than a Vegas dealer. Instead of addressing any of Kinzinger's points, Trump just whined about witch hunts and unfair treatment. Nothing says, "I'm super tough and strong," like immediately crying that everyone's being mean to you. The knockout punch came when Kinzinger described Trump as softer than a microwaved marshmallow. Can you picture that for a second? That perfectly gooey, squishy marshmallow that collapses the moment you touch it.
And this guy obsesses about Joe Biden because the only time he ran against him, Joe Biden beat him, and that bothers him. And so yes, I think it's constantly trying to change people's view on Joe Biden. At what point are you like, yeah, I won. I'm vindicated. I feel vindicated. But he can't. He's a small man that just continues to get angry. And it's like, fine, bring it on then. It's just childish. I mean, he did it for John Bolton, Mike Pompeo. This is just a way for vengeance. And by the way, Pompeo was a big supporter of Donald Trump. This is dangerous. Somebody's going to get hurt.
That's our former president's emotional stability in a nutshell. Kinzinger also said Trump's ability to handle criticism is about as strong as a soggy paper towel. Not exactly the description you want for someone who once had the nuclear codes. All this tough talk from Trump reminds me of those cheap Halloween costumes. Looks impressive on the package, but as soon as you open it, you realize it's just flimsy material that tears the moment you put it on. Trump's tough guy act is that same cheap costume, and Kinzinger just showed everyone the price tag.
And that's the Trump formula.
A little bit of a pungent odor, I would say, yeah. People were a little scared to talk about it, but it was obvious. Maybe it wasn't permanent or all the time, but it's there. You know, people will tell me sometimes, like, Adam, you're courageous, and I appreciate it. I'm not courageous, though. I'm surrounded by cowards. Donald Trump is a weak man pretending to be strong.
Every time Trump rails against disloyal Republicans like Kinzinger, he's actually proving their point. A truly strong person can handle criticism without melting down. A truly confident leader can admit mistakes. But Trump, he crumbles faster than that metaphorical marshmallow whenever someone points out his flaws. And what happens when the flimsy facade finally shatters? As Kinzinger brilliantly put it, Trump walks around like the tough guy, but he's the one that gets more offended and wounded and sad than anybody I know. That's the real Donald, not the WWE persona he desperately wants us to believe in, but a man so thin-skinned he needs a social media tantrum every time someone hurts his feelings. When you look at how Mr. Bone Spurs melts down over a few harsh words from Kinzinger, launching into name-calling and conspiracy theories faster than you can say witch hunt, it raises a pretty simple question. How exactly would this fragile ego handle an actual crisis? Between his crumbling marriage and his crumbling composure, Trump's proving one thing beyond doubt: the tougher he talks, the softer he actually is.